host of CBC's Commotion podcast and the editor behind the new book, Elbows Up, Canadian Voices of Resilience and Resistance, which just so happens to be out today. Everyone, please welcome Elamin Abdelmahmoud.
Wow, thank you.
Elamin.
Hi.
I'm a big fan.
I'm a big fan of you.
I'm so amped right now.
Stop, I'm a big fan of you.
Well, okay, so we actually met, the first time we met was at Six the Musical, the premiere. Here we are. I ran up to you. I was so excited to meet you, and you were gracious enough to take a picture with me.
Get out of here. I was taking a picture with you. You took a picture with me.
Get out of here.
Come on.
Yeah.
Stop.
We're being, I feel like, highly Canadian right now.
I know, I like it.
I do too. I do too. Speaking of, huge congratulations on this amazing book. Now, Elbows Up. Okay, so it is a collection of Canadian voices responding to the current trade war. And it really is kind of a look at the swelling national kind of unity that followed that. There's so many prolific Canadians in here. Who do we got? We've got Margaret Atwood, Egoyan. We've got Peter Mansbridge, Jay Baruchel, Jeannie Becker, our buddy Tom Power. The list just goes on. Okay, how did you feel putting this book together, editing this book, knowing you were in such company, and also writing the introduction for this?
Look, it came together really fast. I mean, like the 51st state rhetoric stuff started in February. By March, we I heard a boom. Like,
solid boom.
And then by March, we kind of started looking around and being like, I wonder if the best of the best writers that we have, wonder what they have to say about this. And we kind of put out the call in early April, and we said, hey, by the way, you have 5 minutes to write this thing. And so many people answered that call. I mean, like, so many people said, you know what? We have something to say. Let's meet that moment. Let's figure out what we have to say.
I absolutely love that. Now, speaking of, you said March, the month. Looking at the cover of this book, first off, I love birds, so I'm thrilled about this. Shout out birds. Now, the Canadian goose versus the bald eagle. This was actually like, this literally happened in real life. Do we remember this back in March? And the Canadian goose won out over the bald eagle.
That's right, it did.
So this image really kind of evokes that feeling of patriotism. When you see these two birds, it just calls that out. But the thing I loved about this book and reading this book is patriotism looks different for a lot of people. There's a lot of figuring out what it actually means to be Canadian. Like, what does this mean to you? What does patriotism mean to you when you were putting this together, too?
I think a bunch of people who are in this book are, for want of a better word, newfound patriots. People who have maybe not thought about their relationship to Canada for some time, and then suddenly our sovereignty is threatened, and they say, wait a minute, it means something to be here, and it means something to be from this place, and we have a relationship to this place. And so to me, like, part of the reason I wanted to jump on board here is that, like, there are so many conversations we've been having lately about, like, what does it mean to be Canadian? Where does that come from? I was born in Sudan, you know, I moved to Canada when I was 12. Like, for me, you know, the notion of Canada is like, I'm still learning what that is. I'm still trying to figure out, like, what's the thing that makes a country? What's the thing that sort of makes us sort of share the space? And one of my favorite lines in the book is from Karloff's piece. And Karloff says, you know, Canada doesn't need an identity, it needs a shrink. And I love that line. I love that line. I love that line because what she's getting at is being like, we've spent long enough sort of sitting around being like, what is the Canadian identity? I was like, enough of that, because we share this land, we share this space, and we actually share a lot of values in common. So why don't we, like, figure out how to lean into those values? And, like, a lot of the pieces in here are reflecting on that, suddenly realizing, wait a minute, I'm part of something much bigger, and it's time to stand up for it. You know?
Absolutely, that's amazing. Honestly, it comes through. You talk to artists, you talk to writers, you talk to so many different people, so you get all of those different perspectives, but there is that common, hey, wait a second, we've got something here.
I feel like the 51st state rhetoric stuff kind of woke up a lot of people.
It really did.
Them to that, so,
Now, you edited Elbows Up, as we talked about. You wrote the introduction, but you've also written a national bestseller of your own called Son of Elsewhere, a memoir in pieces. That book was absolutely amazing. I loved reading it. It was so beautiful. It was such a beautiful story. And again, like you're saying, it's still a work in progress, like you as a person, obviously. But what did you like more, the editing process or the writing? Which did you find more engaging?
Barry, have you ever had to send a note to Margaret freaking Atwood to say, love the piece, I got a couple of thoughts, you know? I'm not built for that. And so there's something to me about the editing process that is entirely just a different beast, you know? Like, I love pulling together this book because so much of what this book was is getting people's initial reactions and saying, ooh, I like that. I want to go more into that. What more does that have to say to you? You know, like our pal Tom Power, for example, he wrote about Newfoundland and sort of figuring out, as he's wont to do, and figuring out his relationship to Newfoundland music and Irish music and traditional music. But going back and forth with Tom on that piece of saying, like, I really love this image that you brought here. Can I hear more about that?
Yeah.
Like, that to me felt like really satisfying because it was less of an editing process and more of just like an uncovering of like, oh, that really hits like an emotion note with me.
Yeah.
Can you give me more of that?
Yeah.
Whereas for me, like writing a memoir, that's a different beast, but it's also like, it's just, I've always described it as like it's a Google Doc with a dream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like just me sitting down, sort of working my way through those ideas, which is quite solitary, whereas this felt surrounded by people.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Really nice. It comes through, and it's really, you did such a fantastic job because everyone's individual personality and individual voice comes through really, really beautifully in it.
Thank you, friend.
Yeah,
Appreciate you.
Yeah, so we're going to do a little bit of a switcheroo now.
Okay.
So book fantastic, but as anyone knows who listens to your podcast, Commotion, or follows your work in general, you're a Swiftie.
What?
You're a Swiftie.
It's true.
We love it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And I'm not the only one.
And you're not, I'm also a Swiftie.
And I'm tired of pretending I'm the only one around here.
You're not. Okay, what are we thinking of the new album, The Life of a Showgirl?
First of all, whether you like the album or not, it just sold the most number of albums of all time for a first week, which is just absolutely nuts. You know, I think there's something extraordinary about being a Swiftie in this very moment because it feels like you're onboarding a lot of people who got on the boat for the first time. Yeah. Welcome. Yeah. And I think, like, to me, like, that feels satisfying because I've been on this boat since day one, since debut, since 2006. And so it kind of like watching the trajectory of this artist to this moment of selling the most number of records on the first week, 4 million copies.
Out of control.
Which is nuts. Feels really beautiful. It feels like a nice like little endpoint. I love the record, but I hear it's a controversial thing to say.
I know.
So,
listen, we like it. It is Elamin and Mary signed off of approval. So we love this. Elamin, thank you so much. Huge congratulations.
Thank you.
Again. Hey, Mary here. What did you think? Drop your comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of the good stuff.